Hello, my name is Lonelywolf, and welcome back to our series in surviving on the Long Dark. And this episode is how to hunt the venerable moose. Now, the first thing to keep in mind about the moose is it's not some willy-nilly prey that you can just dispatch with ease or on your own, or without having to worry about it fighting back. The moose is to be reckoned with as if you were hunting a bear. The first things to keep in mind when hunting the moose is to always make sure you have the advantage. There's a couple of ways to do this, and that's to lurk towards you, to make sure you're in an area where it can't get at you. There's several things, and we're going to go over covering them. So as you can see, it's nighttime. I'm in the muskeg, and I found this moose here. This is probably one of the more difficult moose to get at, simply because of the approach that I have to take. One of the first things I would check for is to make sure you don't have any wolves that are going to be bothering you during this time. You don't want to have to be dealing with more than one thing at once, especially when it comes to the moose. As it is, I have to be really careful here. I'm trying to figure out just how close I can get over here to the moose without him seeing me, and without falling into the ice. My goal, of course, here is to not get smushed by him, and that's going to be difficult. I want to make sure he doesn't see me. I want to make sure I see him. Now, I do have the advantage of this fallen tree right here if I can get on it. Should be able to protect myself from the moose from here. Now, I don't need to light a fire to keep any wolves at bay. I don't have a rifle to hunt with, so I can't really show you guys what a rifle will look like for hunting a moose. Honestly not sure being on here is going to be safe. To be fair. I wonder if being on the other side of it would simply be enough. Keeping in mind I'll probably have to circle around it. He's heard me. Anyway, you want to keep something like this bit of cover between you and the moose at any time. The easiest moose to bag is the one down at the coastal town site in Coastal Highway near the Quonset garage, because you can dip into cars and not worry about the moose getting you. Keep in mind the moose hide is tough, and as far as any testing I've done so far has shown, he does not get affected by bleed at all. So you literally have to deal enough damage to him to take him down. Of course I missed. No, I got him. And he's gonna go running up over there. He's probably coming around down to this side. So as long as I can keep him upset and running away from me, I'll be alright. Now this wind's probably gonna become a bother. I did actually hit him on his foot. Now, the thing to keep in mind here now that I've hit him is to try and track him to a point where he comes back, because I obviously didn't land the kill shot. I way underballed my shot. Now, I want to make sure Mr. Moose comes back to me without trampling me. Now, that's not going to be easy, especially now that we've got this abhorrent wind upon us. And considering the fact he's done run off for parts unknown. There he is, he's up there, alright. If I can get him back down here, we can do the old 1-2 again. So keep in mind you want your area, your arena, whatever you want to call it, clear of any other concerns, be it bear or wolves or anything else. So make sure your area is clear first. I don't really want to take a long shot on this guy. I've got enough arrows to. I'd rather try and lure him back to this tree branch. I'm going to see if I can get him angry. But anyway, it's gonna be a long game of getting the moose down. Simply because he's not gonna want you to take him down. It's gonna take more than one shot, most likely. Take completely and bag yourself your moose. So you're just gonna want to literally make sure you've got the advantage on him. Don't ever let him get the advantage on you. Right now he's got the advantage of high ground. I'm having trouble spotting him, especially with the snow blowing in my face. I do have the advantage of hearing him. So anytime he feels like charging me, I can hear it. So it's just gonna take a bit of time to figure out where he's at. There he is. He's all the way down over there now. It's dark, and I wouldn't advise doing it when it's dark, but this is when I found the moose, so... I got anything left to eat? Yeah, can't tell. So, I'm gonna try and get him to lure him back over here. Or else I'll just take a pot shot at him. It's gonna take multiple shots to get him. Got him. This fallen tree here makes it really, really easy to keep on taking pot shots at Mr. Moose. Did I drop him with that one? I don't think so. I don't want to get mauled by him, but he ran off. I need to track him back down again. Oh, I did. I bagged him. 2 shots. Sweet. So for me, it only took 2 shots. It can take more or less depending on your skill level with the bow, so how much damage you're doing. And there's my 1 arrow. There should be 2 arrows. I'll have to find the other one. It's probably buried underneath him. That is the one problem with arrows. You may have to come back and revisit the spot a day or 2 later to finally collect all your arrows. But that's how you hunt the moose. You make sure your area is clear of any other distractions first. Preferably find some preferable conditions for dealing with it. Like, this is night and windy. This is not preferable conditions. But make sure your area where you're going to be hunting him has some terrain that you can abuse to your advantage. So in this case, I had that down tree. And that enabled me to not worry about getting charged and stomped by him. And you're just going to have to take some pot shots at him. I advise aiming for the head. Not always possible, obviously. But that's obviously where you're going to have the easiest chance of getting a critical shot and him dying immediately. When dealing with other animals, other than the moose, the rifle's typically the best go-to chance if you want to deal the most burst damage into the animal. Bleeding doesn't stack, and they bleed out slower from a rifle shot than they do from an arrow. An arrow typically deals less damage immediately, but it will make them bleed out much faster than a rifle shot will. So, this guy, as you can see, is relatively large. He's got some very useful things. First off is the amount of meat they carry. This guy's got literally 80 pounds of meat. That's about equal to a bear, give or take, and it's pretty decent on the calories as well. So if I were to harvest all the meat, just the meat alone, it would take me 4 hours and 18 minutes just to harvest him. Hide takes 30 minutes. He's got 12 guts on him. That takes another 2 hours and 30 minutes. So you're looking at about 8 hours of carcass harvesting time. You have another option at your disposal. A simple quartering. And you can literally just quarter your moose up. And you're left with everything on the ground. You've got your little moose quarters. These are not going to last more than 3 days. So you're going to need to get rid of those. You need to take your moose hide, obviously. It weighs a lot. You're going to want to pick up some of the gut, of course, and some of these. I'd recommend taking your moose down somewhere near your base, or else setting up camp near the moose, because the harvesting time is literally going to be the longest thing you're going to have to deal with. It's probably going to take you... What condition do I have? I've got an affliction. Alright, it says no afflictions here, but I got afflictions down there. I'm not sure. Anyway. Maybe make like a little campsite. So if you took the one down in coastal town site, if you were to bag that moose, it's very easy. You can just process it right there and just take time harvesting it instead of using the quarter feature. But when you're out in some place like the Muskeg where bad weather abounds, You're gonna need to find yourself a little cave or make a snow shelter or something, a place where you can have a protected fire, and then just deal with one bag at a time, and take the bag back up to your area and harvest it, get your hide and your guts curing. And that's pretty much how you hunt the moose, is you've got to make sure that the 3 things to make sure of when hunting the moose is that you are protected, the area you're hunting the moose in is free of any other distractions or enemies, be it bears or wolves, and that you can make sure that you have the terrain or object advantage to be able to avoid getting hit up by this moose. He'll hit you like a freight train and it hurts, and he can do it multiple times. In fact, he can even kill you if you're unlucky enough. Just make sure you aim for his head. If you don't hit his head, it's okay. It's going to take multiple shots with the bow, more often than not, unless you get a really lucky shot. Probably going to take you between 2 to 6 shots with the bow sometimes to get your moose down. Rifle can be 1 shot, but it's typically 2 shots as well, and up to 6 shots. It really varies on that. So the rifle, same technique as I used with the bow. Line up your shot, aim for the head, fire, and hope he goes down on the first hit. If not, you want to be in a position, like where I was on this branch, on the coastal town site inside a car, where you can run to as soon as you take your shot. It's literally the same as hunting any other animal in this game. Take your time, be patient, line your shots up carefully, and be very vigilant about outlying weather conditions and predator conditions, and you'll have no problem at all bagging your moose. It's not hard, it's just a little bit more dangerous. You're going to want to make sure you have the advantage. Pretty much carries the same risks as hunting anything else, plus the risk of getting broken ribs and condition loss from him charging you if you're unlucky enough for that. But it has a much higher reward compared to the risk, compared to hunting a bear. Bears pretty much always take at least 3 shots with anything to take down. Of course, you can get lucky and 1-shot them or 2-shot them, but more often than not, the average is going to be 3 shots. And you gotta deal with them running around and screaming for 9 hours as they bleed out. And they'll net you the same amount of meat, give or take, as a moose will. Not as much gut, I don't believe. I think it's only 8 gut for a bear, but I can't recall. Don't quote me on that. It's been forever since I've hunted bear. But the moose has much higher reward compared to the risk it takes to hunt them. So yeah, that's how you hunt moose. Just be very careful. Pick your location. Set up for it so you're not caught unawares by anything. And make sure you have the resources to deal with harvesting, collecting, and processing the moose so that you don't lose anything. Like, I'd hate for you to lose meat. Like, there are a lot of bags here, like a lot. I could probably only carry 4 at most safely anywhere. So if you're lucky enough to get them somewhere near shelter, you can just take it into the shelter. Anyway, that's how you hunt the moose. Very easy. Pretty much just like hunting deer. You just got to make sure you've got the terrain to your advantage. I've been Lonelywolf. I hope this guide will help you bag the moose you've been looking for. A little bit more difficult than any other kind of hunting, but not so difficult as to preclude you can't do it in stalker or loper. You can do it with the bow. Very simple, very easy. Big target, pretty hard to miss the broadside of the barn. I will catch you guys in the next episode, which will be our bear hunting episode. I'm looking forward to that. It's going to be exciting. If you've enjoyed so far, go ahead, drop a like, subscribe, comment, whatever it's going to take to float your boat, tote your goat, etc. I will catch you guys next time in the Frozen Apocalypse, and I hope you've enjoyed.